The Tories don't have much to offer Britain's younger generations, but Boris Johnson at last has finally done something for millennials. Well, at least two of them. First up, this is Charlotte Owen, who at 29 has become the youngest ever member of the House of Lords after being nominated in Johnson's resignation honours list.
I, Charlotte, Baroness Owen of Audley Edge, do swear by Almighty God that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to His Majesty King Charles, his heirs and successors, according to law. So help me God.
What a silly country we live in. Owen's qualification for a life peerage was being an advisor to Boris Johnson and then Liz Truss. Tortoise Media was told by sources Owen was, quote, extraordinarily junior. The second millennial with a job for life, thanks to Johnson, is Ross Kempsell. He is the former political editor at the Murdoch-owned Talk Radio. He went on to work for Johnson in Number 10 and is currently his spokesperson. Kempsell, aged just 31, was formally introduced to the House of Lords last week. And of course, there was controversy over Labour's new 25-year-old MP. But whatever you think about Keir Mather, he was voted in and he can be voted out. It seems like a much bigger issue when a 29-year-old gets a peerage for life without having to face any electorate at all. In fact, we're just doing a couple of years' work experience with the Prime Minister. James, Charlotte Owen has been trending quite a lot on Twitter over sort of the past few weeks, I think because people are so confused. How has this 29-year-old who's had a very junior job working for the Prime Minister ended up in the House of Lords? Are you outraged?
No, not really. Look, the whole institution's ridiculous. I mean, just take it as read. The House of Lords in its current form should not exist. I mean, it was bad when you had hereditary peers with voting rights, and then we sort of done a gradual process of reform and ended up replacing it with a system where whoever's running a government at the moment gets to appoint a load of their mates with some nuances around that. But it's nonsense. We shouldn't have a system like this. We shouldn't have people sitting on wool sacks and wearing all the weird ermine and doing the bowing and scraping and all the rest. There's a whole load of things that need changing. So what you're looking at with these appointments is a symptom of the system that needs changing, rather than people are particularly to blame themselves. I think that's where we need to get to with that. It would be nice, by the way, if Labour does actually do the thing it says it will do, which is reform the House of Lords. Although I've noticed Keir Starmer seems to be talking a little bit less enthusiastically about anything to do in the Constitution lately.
I think if I was Charlotte Owen, and you've got all the media asking, who is this person? How has this 29-year-old managed to get sort of given a place in the House of Lords? I would think, to be fair, this is it's not one of the democratic institutions, but it's an institution which is supposed to represent us. And probably, if people are asking all these questions, I should probably give an interview to someone. So it seems surprising to me that she hasn't sort of said, yeah, this is who I am. This is why Boris Johnson thought I deserve a peerage. I've actually got all of these different areas of expertise, and it'd be great to get some young blood into the House of Lords. But it seems almost like she's been kind of embarrassed and she's sort of hiding from any scrutiny. She doesn't feel like she should have to face scrutiny. I mean, if you had been given a peerage age 29, James, how would you, let's assume you'd accept it for a start. Do you think you'd be a bit more public than Charlotte Owen has been?
Well, there's a mild sort of leftish dilemma in this. If you take someone like Prem Sikka, who's an accountant and a supporter of Jeremy Corbyn and did a load of good work when Jeremy was leader of the Labour Party, and then got made he's now Baron Prem Sikka, so he's got a seat in the House of Lords. It's a terrible institution, but if you've got the space to sort of occupy and make use of it, you can do that. And he has a public profile and he can do something with it. And there's a few others you can think of are in that sort of category, but it's still a deeply imperfect system. And there's a good case for people saying, look, I'm just not going to take this because I don't want to be part of this absolute nonsense of a show. But there is a problem when you say, exactly as you said, this is actually the second chamber. In fact, it's the upper chamber. There are people there making decisions that affect all of us in lots and lots of different ways. And yet somehow there isn't even the modicum of accountability that you might have where they're willing to put themselves in public and at least do an interview and say what it is they're about. I mean, there's God knows how many peers now. Over 1,000, isn't it? Well over. How much do you see of these people? When do you ever hear about these people? When do they make themselves account to the public in even the minimal sense of presenting to the media and to the wider public what it is they're about? How much do we see of debates in the House of Lords? How much do we see of the work of committees and this sort of thing? There's a shadowy sort of secretiveness to proceedings that once you get people not wanting to take part in kind of media scrutiny and put themselves forward and say what it is they're doing, in addition to the basically undemocratic procedure by which they're appointed in the first place.
Sorry, I was just desperately Googling how many people are in the House of Lords. 784 sitting members, I think. So we're not quite over 1,000, but I think it's the second largest legislative chamber in the world after the Chinese National People's Congress. It's pretty, of all the countries in the world, it's the second largest, the House of Lords, where no one is elected and they get peerages for lives.